weird. It may be seen as an insult to some, but to me, it is amazing. I love feeling like a weird person, and it's not because I just like to be different, but it's kind of because I like to be different. It's if you're the weird one, then it's known that you're not like everyone else. It's not necessarily clear what it is that makes you different, but people can tell that you're not like everyone, and so you're not necessarily following the herd, you're not doing the trends, you're not conforming to what is expected of you or reasonable or proper. The challenge with being a weird person is that lately it's almost like if you're the weird person, you're the bad guy or the villain. It's like you're the anarchist and you're ruining things and nobody can get you or understand. And that's not necessarily the intention of being weird. It's just the expression of one's true self. What I really like, what I don't like, what I agree with, what I don't agree with. It's just me being me, who just happens to not fit into very many boxes. Or pieces of me fit into various boxes, but that's just a piece of who I am. I'm a data engineer who likes exploring this field of sexuality, who also likes psychology, who enjoys drawing and connecting with people and talking. It's an amalgamation of experiences and things that I've had that make me who I am. It's the people I've met, the places I've gone, the things that I do, the choices that I make. And I tend to make choices that are definitely weird. Like I growing up, I felt like all people are delusional. Every one of us, we're all delusional to some extent. There is some area of our lives where we think one way and it is not true. And it's not that we're not trying to be truthful or honest. It's just that it's hard to be 100% honest about who we are, what we want, what we're about, our values, where we're going. Are we doing the work that it takes to get where we want to go? And it's easy to talk about it and to create all of this work and get nowhere because we're busy, we're distracted. We're not doing things that move the needle. We're doing things that just like make us feel like we've done things. It's like, oh yeah, I got 5 things on my to-do list. And it's like the 5 easy things that don't make a difference but kind of shut people up. And so now you're left feeling just as dissatisfied as before. At least that's what I do for sure. Because I know that over the last few weeks, it's like I'm making progress doing things, trying to communicate and keep up, but I'm not doing those things that are like, this is going to serve this client, or this is going to get that done, or this is going to, be very core to what we're doing. And so it can be challenging to do that. I know, I'm human. I am human, and I have like a weird perspective that makes it to where for me, when I'm doing horribly, that makes me happy. I like to mess things up in a way that's not permanent. Like coding is fun, and I'm afraid that I'm gonna get the blue screen of death because I put memory into the wrong field in an array and it was out of bounds, and then all of a sudden my computer's gonna explode because the memory can't handle it, and then I'm just gonna be like, oh my god, it's broken forever, I ruined my computer. And if it's my Mac, I'll be really upset because that was expensive. And so it's just like, all right, like I like to hear that like what I do doesn't make sense, or it seems petty or spiteful or devious, or all of these words just make me happy because they're just words. They don't hold power over me. They don't hold my intention or the reason for me doing these things. They do give me another perspective where it's like, okay, other people might feel like I'm being mean or cruel. Cool. I'm okay with that. I don't need your approval to feel good about my choices. I don't need your love. Is like I would appreciate respect, but at the same time, even if you don't respect me, I'm still gonna get where I need to go. I'm Latia and I'm just working through figuring out business and marketing and mindset and all the things that make me entrepreneurial. And a lot of me has felt like, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur. From the time I was a kid, I remember hearing about entrepreneurship and being like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I don't know if that's for me. And I've had that experience in a lot of different senses. And something that I find fascinating is people who believe they can be the president of the United States. Usually, when you're a child, you think it's possible. As you grow up, you might get away from the dream, and then you forget about it and want to do other things that are like way more fun. So I believe President Barack Obama is incredible. And he was so well qualified to be president that not only did all his tools and techniques and the way that he approached people and who he was so genuine, of course he became president. Like, it makes sense. It's like, this man went to Harvard, married a wife who went to Harvard. Like, they are like highly educated, highly trained people. He was my senator. I'm like, I was in Illinois when he was senator. Like, what? That's amazing. And when he became president, I didn't feel like I could become president. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing that a black man, mixed race, human being is now president. That's incredible. And I'm grateful that you're starting to like pave the way, and you've been grooming for this since you were very young. You knew what you were doing. You blazed a trail and you did that. And I respect it. When Trump became president, I can't lie, one of my first thoughts was, if this man can be president, I can be president. Because his background had nothing to do with running a country, no sign of politics, nothing of character or heart or connecting with people in a way that like makes them feel inspired and excited, but he does in his own way. And I was like, if you can become president and you have the most unqualified candidate to become president, even if it's just in terms of, have you worked in government? Like, what experience gave you this permission? And the people who are like, he's a businessman, he's gonna turn this country around. And it's like, but like, business is what's ruining our country. Like, everyone's after all the money and the fame, and without character and soul and heart. And so I've heard about a couple of the candidates coming up, and I hear that there's one who talks about coming back to the soul, Marianne Williamson, I believe. And I love the idea of like having a soulful candidate. I don't keep up with the elections, if you can't tell. I just sometimes watch Trevor Noah because he's entertaining, or John Oliver because he's also entertaining. And so I watch what feels good and keeps me entertained. I tend to be in a bit of a bubble because it's like, if I'm not able to make an impact or a difference, why am I going to stress myself out over it? And yes, I need to be an informed citizen, and I get enough information. I did vote in the election. I attempt to do my civic duties as an American citizen. And it's just a matter of these choices that we make. So I am grateful to Barack Obama and all the work that he did. If it weren't for him, we would not have been able to like change the narrative of American history. We have now had a black person as president. And in America, if you have one drop of black, you're black. And with that, I had a preacher that was talking, and he said the reason why Trump won is because he is the antithesis to Barack Obama. We went from the most qualified president that we could have had to the least qualified. And he said other things, but to me, what I got is that if you can be unqualified, uneducated, unprepared for this position, and you can still get it, it's possible for anyone to do it. And I know that this presidency is, I guess, weighing on many people with all the stuff that goes on in it. For me, it's just like, the country's been through a lot. And as we come together, we can move forward and create a new vision for our future. I believe that Martin Luther King had faith that we would one day see people for the content of their character and not the color of their skin. And as I do my inner work of creating a company, and I officially have an LLC, if I haven't mentioned it, and like creating a business, what comes up for me is that as a black woman, even though I may be vilified, attacked, assumed, preconceived notions, all the stuff people bring into the relationship because I am a black woman, I am the most well-defined human being in this country. And that is what makes me distinct and gives me the freedom to be who I want to be. We all know I'm a black woman. That's the easy part. but what kind of education do I have? What makes me happy? What floats my boat? What do I do to bring joy or presence into a room? And a lot of times it's nothing, because my presence is magic. It is a conundrum. It's so powerful because everyone talks about Black women. They're so toxic. They gossip so much. These Black women, I just don't understand. They're a no, and they really are no, and they're so sassy and opinionated. Why can't they just be more easygoing and less difficult? No, we're just as obnoxious as white men. The difference is a white man is not defined. You don't call out white men for things. So it's like crazy person shoots up a school. Black woman shoots up a school. Black person shoots up a school. White woman, well, actually it'll be a woman shoots up a school, because your white is dropped off. Your man is dropped off. Whatever you are that is mainstream gets dropped off. So you have no identity or sense of yourself or your purpose or where you're at in the world. And I always know where I am, and I always know what I'm trying not to be, and I always know what I want to be. So I'm a Black woman, and I'm like, okay, most people are going to be threatened, intimidated. You know, they're going to have all these preconceived notions coming into our relationship. And I'm going to show up as someone that when you meet me, the next time you meet a Black person, you're going to be like, maybe there's going to be more to them than meets the eye. Maybe they're just a human like me. Maybe now that I can see myself in one of you people, I don't have to be so distinct about it. It's no longer other, but just a community. And so I've done work in like a volunteer session in domestic violence advocacy, and it felt like having the double whammy of Black woman was bad. It was like, dang, I'm a Black woman. Everyone has feelings about me. They're usually not great. We've done all this work in our country, and yet we can't be accepted or approved of as we are. And now I'm like, no, there's power in distinction, because that which is distinct and distinguished from others has the ability to change and make a difference. So now it may have been everyone else's narrative about what it means to be a Black woman or a human, but it's like, yeah, well, now white man is known as mediocre. White women are also kind of mediocre, and Black men, you know, they're on the fence. They have their good things, their bad points. But the amount of times that I hear people be like, I love Black men. I wanted to marry a Black guy and I didn't. And I'm just like, Black people aren't just commodities. You don't fit in with our culture and what we want and need. So of course you're not going to marry a Black person. You like the idea of it, but the amount of like difficulties that you're going to have walking through the world as a white person married to a Black person is about on par with being a Black person in yourself. And if it's not you, then it's going to be your kids. Because now you're going to have mixed kids. So now you have Black kids, as far as most people are concerned. So now they're up for danger, and you never know. Like, you don't know you're going to get the really light skin, great hair, fits in with everyone, and the super love mixed kid. You might get the mixed kid who looks like they're Black. And they're like, you are mixed? Wow, I had no idea. Like, there's so many like variables at play. So whenever I hear people say that, like, a little part of me does cringe, because I'm just like, I feel like you're objectifying a human being. And then another part of me is like, Black people are magic. Like, we are powerful. We are grounded. We have presence even when we don't want to. It's like you can't help but notice us. We stand out in a crowd because we're easy to spot. And to some, that's scary and intimidating. But for me, it's comforting, because I'm a Black person. So, and like, I'm always scanning. I'm like, ooh, Black person, yeah. Ooh, you responsive or not? Like, we friends, we cool, you down? Or are you one of those weird people where I'm just like, ooh, so glad to get away from you. But I'm glad you're Black, because it's just nice to feel like, ooh, I'm included. But there's just power in owning who you are and not caring if you fit in or not. Not wanting to follow the trends and standards, because at the end of the day, they're temporary and fleeting. So who cares? Do you want to build an empire? Do you want to own yourself in your life? Or do you want to just have like temporary fun moments and like a fleeting thing that doesn't make a difference? I don't know about you, but I'm seeking to be sovereign over my life. I know through the Tantra space, they talk about sexual sovereignty. And that is when you know your body and you can play your body like an instrument and you know how it works and you are just in control of you. That is where the magic comes in life, because we have too many people trying to control other people and make everyone the same, and it's just like there's no value in that. Like, I hate it when I meet people who are like sheeple and it's just like, oh, I met 5 of you. Like, can you come with something more interesting? Like, I'll try to be present and like generate enthusiasm, and I'm not that good at it in those situations. Just like, okay, bye. I gotta watch paint dry. It's a lot more interesting. At least it might dry in a different pattern. Whereas like, this is a very predictable outcome. And I may be working on it. Not decided. It's like, why keep wasting my time with people where it's like it doesn't flow? And it's like, part of me is like, because it is possible to connect with any other person. It's possible to succeed in any environment. It's just about what are you willing to do to make it work. And sometimes I have the energy and patience. It's like, yes, I can see the value in this. And other times I don't. I'm human. So I feel like where I'm at is like definitely wanting to work with people who get like, they're weird and they have a message and things to say and share that they don't tend to say and share. I love it when we're just free to be ourselves. Like, I don't know, I say crazy things and it's not necessarily out of complete ignorance. Part of it's because I have a historical understanding of how things have shifted and like become the way that they are. So it's like, with perspective and knowing, we have a responsibility to understand that, like, yeah, it may be stereotypical to say things, but at the same time, if we are always trying to be politically correct and not hurt everyone's feelings, and it's just like, what point did you make? You've like taken out the juice and the goodness and the interest of what you're doing. So now we have a bunch of weak-minded, feeble-minded, other person worried, trying to protect everyone and their feelings people who are just like too afraid to say the truth. When like sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes someone's being a jerk. It's just like, stop being a jerk. Chill out. Like, you okay? You need a Snickers? Like, let's talk this out, guys. Like, we don't have to keep being upset and mean to people, because it's like, you're only hurting yourself. But have a wonderful day.